Hello, hello, hello. So excited to be here live with you today. It's Margot Mastery, your heartfelt CFO. The weather here in New Jersey has been up and down and all around. It's been wild. The other day, my daughter was like, Mom, I got to put back on the heat. And it was like 12 hours before that, it was like air conditioning, mega. I don't know about you guys, but keeping up with all of the things around the weather and the shifts and staying healthy and up and out. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how you're doing today. It's been such a good day so far. I have gotten to start my day with my internal work, my internal practices, and I even got to exercise already. I happened to wake up like, I don't know, it was like way earlier usual than normal, and I just like got out of bed and like starting to do the things, and I was like, I finally looked at the time and I was like, oh my wow. Because like I still had a little bit of extra time from what my norm was, and I was like, whew. So it was cool. I got to wake up my daughter. We ordered some breakfast this morning. I was in the mood for something, and she was like, really, Mom? I was like, yeah. And we got my dog something too. So Comet is always like, Comet, our dog, is always, he tries to get in. He loves when everybody is in the room together. So it's really cute. He comes in and he has like his tag, his tag, his it is his tag because it's his tail. It keeps wagging, and he just does his like dance. So having a dog is really, really, it's interesting. Sometimes I think I grew from our dog more than raising my children. However, um, different stages and different ways of looking at things. So, uh, our topic today is why your real estate tax outcome is already decided. This is what our topic is. And I want to kick it off by a little bit of a story around my own life. A few years ago, I walked into being a real estate owner really just by shifting in life. It wasn't something I woke up and I wanted to do it, to be honest. And I actually find myself reevaluating what I want going forward right now. I own some assets personally, and it all helps me. And I already know what they're doing for me because I pre decided what they're going to do for me. I pre decided on what they are capable of and what the real situation is of them. And I have this separate asset, and I basically just get a tax write off from holding it because it's something I'm at this point intentionally a part of. So I get to reduce my income from it and these types of things. And what I decided was is that I don't really want to do it anymore because it's not the best use of cash for me in terms of getting an offset, because there's so many other things that I can offset my income with being a tax planning professional. And at this point, I study the code all the time, and I actually truly love it. And I think in another year, I might go back for more tax courses. Uh, and it was interesting because in my daughter's platform, she was talking about me teaching like near her schools. She's like, Mommy, you want to come teach? um, I love the fact that she was open even to like talking to me about that, and was okay with that. So what's cool about this asset is that the outcome was decided for me from intention. It wasn't a surprise of what's going to happen. And with my clients, what I see is that they go into it with like this unknown and this uncertainty, but a extra capital on all the letters of hope. And with that, it comes the drawbacks of hope, because if it doesn't produce, if it's not cash flowing, um, if you're not up and up on all of the things. And what do I mean by that? In order to really get the benefit of assets is to have your shit together. Meaning a P&L, financial statements, so that you really know how it's helping you or not helping you. So let's see and dive into this further, why it's pre-decided when we don't work on this. In case you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm a tax strategist and CFO specialist, and I'm here to help you take business ownership to a whole nother level. I replace fear with clarity. I make calm, grounded decisions to help you and teach you how to do that and build strategy that actually works for your practice. And I want to kick this off in saying the difference between control and reaction isn't your tax bill. It's really when you see the numbers. This is why you're avoiding bookkeeping. I was actually teaching this to a client this morning because what happened is that he's in this really high level tax fraud situation, not by choice, from this other firm who basically literally just took his money and didn't do the work. And how the industry has been teaching us, meaning like that we need to file the tax return by a certain time, that's where all the pressure comes. And the industry is really built, if you think about it, around that deadline. There's not other deadlines are when you're supposed to pay estimates. It's when you're supposed to pay payroll taxes. It's like the end fact of things. It's not the progression around the parts of the things that are supposed to help it. So it's everything around the numbers. So most real estate owners don't notice this because from the outside, everything looks active and growing. Here's the reality. You're across your portfolio, the properties are generating income, expenses move, decisions happen, but the full picture isn't visible. So the conclusion now becomes, I'll understand everything at tax time. But by the time you see everything, it's already done. And when it's done, you can't really change anything because it's done. So you have to like settle a lot of arguments, settle a lot of fights around money, and deal with the things. And you may not be ready for it. You know, I think it was 2 years ago, the story that's coming to mind, I had this big partnership of real estate professionals that I was helping. And I'm going to call them legacy clients of ours because they come back always when they're doing deals. And I know it's going to always be in a reactive position as much as I look to teach and help and tell clients. But when they see what's involved, it's not always available in everybody unless they meet that way. But the thing that struck me with this is that the partners were literally out to get each other. So really by the time they got to me, it was too late. And what I said to them at almost at every stage was that you're really in more of a legal issue than it was in like paying bills and all of these things, because it's what the bill, it's like what all of these situations are actually doing. They're not settling. They're actually just continuing and they're not resolving. So the core belief outcomes aren't created at the end. They're just built across the year. And where it's actually decided is your outcome is shaped when you structure the deal, when you move cash from entities, when you reinvest or redistribute, when you make operational decisions. So I was actually on a client call last week, and because he was doing this, he was still in somewhat of reactive mode. He was in reactive mode still because he's used to that with being there for so many years. And we're first past all of that catch up. So when I caught it for him, he was like, I'm not going to an adult business now, Margot, right? So it was really interesting to hear that shift. And he remembered something I told him last year, and he was like, you called it out right away. And he didn't say I called it out. He was like, you told me to do it. And I said to him, I go, the longer you wait, you know, the only person that loses here is him as the client. So The real issue is not you're not making the decisions. It's the part that comes before that. It's reviewing them. This is where the control actually exists. So the first part is the financial clarity part, where we see the properties together, income across, and the overall performance. The next part of this is the planning. Before the deals are finalized, before the cash is moved, before outcomes are locked. The architecture, this is a big one. Every decision needs to be understood in the context across entities, properties, and the full picture. So you really need to see from business to business what's actually happening. It's not a matter of just doing it to do or to just pay the bill. It's how it's actually working for you, right? So like I told you, back to my situation, right? I have this asset I happen to own now, one of the things that I own now. And I was thinking about it the other day, and it's not really a lot of steps, but I looked at it, and if I was like the rest of the world, I was like, oh, okay, I got the write-off and the reduction on income. I don't really need that because I have more high quality strategies that are going to do more for me. And the cash in this asset can do way more because there's so many different things that I can do. So when you understand how to work your own performance and work together with the right team, there's a higher level of things that you can reach with way less steps. So this is the work that I do behind the scenes with myself and my team, and it's consolidating portfolio visibility, structure how the money moves, creating clarity. So this is not just tax filing, this is the architecture of the financial design of this. And this is the shift from let's review what happened to let's influence what happens next. So let's say I told you there is no situations to clean up. We're just moving through them. How cool is that? Right? There's two different situations that can happen. It's either we could continue to clean up and have this heavy to do on our back, or if we operate in an architecture way, we have nothing really to clean up. We're just doing what we're supposed to do, and it's aligned in the steps, so it's all built in together. And I can tell you many years ago when I decided this, and I built this actually, for myself, I was like having nervous breakdowns. I was like, there's this separate and that separate, like all of these things. And I couldn't take it. And I didn't like it. So as I did make the mistake for a while in doing things separate, or really not a mistake, or doing things like as it was happening, I ended up was like, okay, now I get to do this here. Now I get to do this there. And it's like nothing. It's like literally like nothing. I was reviewing my return internally last night with our tax team. And yes, my tax team does mine. Absolutely. They're way better at it than I am. And the way he did it, and he had like these shifts, I was like, wow. Like, he said that I came up with part of that too. And I was like, really? I completely forgot. So it was nice to be part of the team. But I saw how it was all working for me, and it's not a lot of effort. That's where I'm at, and I want that for you. So the vision, it becomes a place for where things now become predictable. You get to enjoy the results. It feels intentional. The portfolio feels controlled. Growth feels structured. And then what's the reflection? When do you actually see your portfolio clearly? Before decisions or after everything is done? I want to bring you that before. So come on the call with me, scan that QR code, and let's do that together. So clarity is during the year. And I want to say this, and I can't say this enough. Coming onto the call, it not just gives you information and helps you with that CFO gap. It's going to give you like a dose of reality of like what we need to do. Maybe you don't want a dose of reality, so don't come on, but working together and these calls and the work together are for people who are done being tired, done of working hard, pushing and forcing and not seeing the results of what they really think that they're capable of and what they know. If you're done being that person where you want to do more, or that your money is really doing more, but it's not really feeling it, and like you're not sure, it's like, imagine making chocolate chip cookies, and they have a quarter of a cup of chocolate chips, And I might have said the story like a million times, but it usually resonates in this. And my daughter, when she would make chocolate, she would be like, "Mommy, what do you mean? Like, we need more." Like, so you see her with her little pigtails, and like she would put her chocolate chips into there because she was like, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, right? And that's what tax law is. And I want that for you. And where we get to see the gap of what's really happening, it trims it down and business becomes easier. And what do I mean by easier? It's like doing less and getting more. And it's really possible. And I actually made another big decision around some of my other assets over the weekend. It really came to me to shift on things. How something like I believed around the retirement and all this stuff all my life, and I was like, I don't know if I really think like that anymore. And I want all that sitting and whatever, where there's higher level income producing items that I can do without me doing more. You know, I think of these things because for myself, being a single woman with my kids and whatnot, and learning from what I'm learning from with my clients and stuff like that. Like I literally take what I learn and experience, and I do it for myself. So I don't just teach and then it's just like and hope. So I want to leave this on the screen a little bit longer. You can always ask for it if you're on the replay or if you're here live and you're not sure. But what's just super important here is that let's take that step together. Let's get onto the call. Let's align. Let's see what's missing for you, what you are doing and what we can make more possible. You know, I always find money, like it's just something like it's just given. I'm always finding money for clients. The question is like how much and how often is it going to happen? So with that said, thank you all for listening. I look forward to seeing you on the call. I'm going to start going live twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. At least that's my plan and my intention. Keep sending your questions and comments. Put your takeaways down below for this. I cannot wait to hear more, and I look forward to seeing you on the call. Talk soon, and let me know your questions and what I can help with more. But as always, to close today's call, take action today. Let's work together. Come on the call with me so that we can see what the gap is for you and we can work on next steps.